First, I need to get a motion to approve a couple members who are on the phone. Betty, and second by Camille. All those in favor, please state aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Is it just member Alsasser?
Thank you.
And Member Phelan.
Oh, okay.
And Monica.
And Monica, okay. Welcome everybody on the phone.
Thank you.
I gotta get my agenda up. Okay, next I need to get a motion to approve the minutes of January 3rd. Dr. Blair, Member Allison, any additions or changes? All right, all those in favor, please state aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Next, we'll jump right into informational items. We have the Board of Health. Monica, is there anything for the Board of Health?
Not at this time.
How about care and treatment?
Likewise, and more than happy to answer any questions related to the EMA.
Okay. There is an EMA report within our packet. Are there any questions about that? Okay, thank you, Monica. Next is our Regional Office of Education.
Sorry, I was a little disorganized this end of last week. I didn't get my report together, but I just have a quick update that I do want to share, so I apologize for it not being in your packet. A couple different things. First of all, I want to let you know that with the dollars we have received from the state of Illinois through being written into the state budget from Jahan Gordon Booth's work, we have a grant called Other State Programs, $5.5 million. And I just want to let you know a couple of the things that are flowing through that, especially into the spring. So one thing we did is we joined the Association of Illinois Rural and Small Schools because they offer some dynamic things that can support our school buildings. In particular, you join their network and they help you. Okay, this is my terminology. I apologize. I'm not a tech guru, but they trick out a classroom for you with everything you need to be able to deal with the teacher shortage, because then you can have a virtual teacher with someone in the classroom, and it's done very well rather than just having a screen in front of the classroom. That's one of the main reasons why I joined, is to really get access to some of these innovative approaches to dealing with some of the issues that our schools face, when in particular our smaller schools that are on the other side of the county. We're also hosting the I Love You Guys next week. These are the people in school safety. They're incredibly pricey. That's why we were so excited to get a grant to be able to have them here. Over 300 administrators and school personnel were invited to come through this training next week. Dr. George McKenna is setting that all up. It's a lot based on reunification. If something should happen, and in our area, things have happened, tornadoes, fires, etc. What does reunification look like? And they'll be here next week. We'll host that at Bradley. We're also using some of those dollars to offset cost of the protective film that you put on glass in the front of a school. If you know anything about Sandy Hook, that's how he got in, is he just shot out the glass. This gives you more time. It buys you time with some of that protective film. Some of the other things that we are doing, we're going to host a massive literacy summit in the month of June, including a family activity. Our reading stores across the nation, also in Illinois, are not what they need to be, and there's a lot of new work going on in the science of reading, and we're excited to have those conversations. We're going to be doing that in June. We're doing some diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging work, which looks like going out and having conversations at schools, talking with students, staff, and administration. And we're currently in a project with Reservoir Gifted right now to kind of try out some things, some really great stuff coming out of that. And we're working double down on attendance. We've got extra people that are knocking on doors. We've got incentives out the yin yang. We're trying to do a lot of different things around attendance. It is slow going, folks. We knock on these doors and it's just too hard to get my kid ready to school, or they won't go. Some of the things we're encountering, so we're really working on this, is that anxiety of not wanting to be back at school. Maybe they didn't go as much during COVID and now they won't go back. So we're trying on different strategies with that. And we met with the Partnership for a Healthy Community, which, as you know, the county is involved in. Monica sits on that partnership board. I sit on that partnership board. We went and talked to them about the number of doctors right now that are writing notes for kids that their anxiety is too high. They shouldn't have to go to school. And that entitles them to a provision in the law called home hospital tutoring. Well, home hospital tutoring is 1 hour a week, and it was always meant for, if you will, a St. Jude patient that had an illness or a student that was in a tragic car accident and needs some support and can't physically attend school. It was never meant to supplement or supplant going to school. Plus, if you're just staying at home, we're not addressing the issue. So we're working on a lot of those things with attendance. And last but not least, we're hosting a community symposium in February. We think, based on the data we collect and the things that we look at and my extensive research on social media, that we know what the issues are. Maybe we don't. And so we want to listen and hear what some of our community partners and our schools have to say. So that's some of the things we're doing with that grant, and there's more, but I just wanted to share some highlights. I shared about attendance, and then a couple little small things. If you don't know, Woodruff Career and Technical Center is hosting lunch again. If you've not had lunch there, you need to have lunch there. It's only $8. It is the culinary school. They've won national awards, and that food is the bomb. I had a chicken divan and a crepe with this special Yule log, and if that doesn't get you in there, it's only $8 and you can get it as carry out. Get it for your office, get it for your friends, get it for your family. You can find them on social media, and you can find or email me, and I will send you the email address of how you order that ahead of time. I can't recommend it enough. It's always on Thursdays. Guess what's coming? The GMB Spring Celebration. Woot woot! Yeah! Oh, so that conversation is going on. We just got some preliminary approval for food trucks. I'm very excited, but now's the time to sponsor your stage. If you know someone, Rob Renault, that is coming to the stage, you might want to sponsor that day and take the microphone and embarrass your child. It'll be awesome. So that is coming. We're working with the museum to do Jazz Day. You know you love when the kids come start singing. And last but not least, we are launching the Greater Peoria Resilience Project. So I have shared with this committee before, just want to remind you that we partner with Lifting Up LLC to produce Smart Alerts. Smart Alerts is if there's a violent event in the city of Peoria, shot spotter, unfortunately a murder, something that aligns to a adverse childhood experience. If that police code aligns to that, the school is sent an alert by address. We don't send names because we don't want to violate all the HIPAA, FERPA, all the IPAs. So we send addresses. But when a school receives those smart alerts, we've been working really hard on what kind of training do the schools need to, we don't want you running up and going, Steve, what happened at your house last night? We want appropriate responses. Steve, how you doing today? So we're launching this project to say, we don't want to bump up against these kids' trauma and ask them to relive it on a microphone. We want to approach it more from what are those resilience stories and promote that. The narrative right now is so negative on many things, but this is one of them. What are the great things our kids are doing? How are they bouncing back? Who's that critical adult that helped them bounce back? And we're asking schools to nominate some of those critical adults, and we're going to feature them as well. So that is some of the stuff going on with us. Any questions for me?
Any questions? Yes, thank you. I believe Member Coates and I are committing to sponsoring a day out on the plaza.
Yes, there's room for more.
So, yes, we throw the challenge out to the rest of the committee. All right, next is sustainability and resource conservation. Afternoon, Becca.
Good afternoon. I just have a few highlights or small additions to the agenda brief that was presented. Electronics collection, still kind of in the same position, planning to adopt into Consumer Electronics Recycling Act is my intention. Presentation tomorrow, or no, not tomorrow, Thursday, with Kusakowski, who is our permanent electronics collection partner here in the county. So I have a presentation for the Illinois Recycling Association on Thursday with Kusakowski. They're kind of just looking at the fact that we have a permanent site and many other counties don't. And so how that served us. Holiday lights, I just want to say thanks to Nick for his support with this too and helping me collect all of the holiday lights around the county. I don't know if you saw the social media post or not, but there were a lot of them. 1,411 pounds were collected this year with a total of 5,225 pounds since we started the program in 2011, just for staff. And we really started it as sort of an education piece around tanglers and making sure they weren't included in recycling bins, but really we've kind of expanded it now to divert quite a bit of trash over a month period. So happy about that. Hazardous waste event. We've been having those in partnership with the IEPA every spring for the last few years. The IEPA is currently in a situation where they don't have a hauler under contract, so we may push to fall, hopefully not spring of 2025, but I will keep you updated. Tire collection was just granted today, so we do have another unit of local government tire collection coming for June. So excited about that. Sharps collection has not launched in Limestone yet, but you'll see publicity for that once we get the bin in place. Excited about that. One error in the agenda brief that I noticed is the landfill committee did not meet on the 17th. They will meet tomorrow. So that was a change, and I didn't capture it before the agenda brief went out. I'm so sorry for that. But you do have the ability to attend if you'd like, or the minutes are always online. The meeting is tomorrow, January 24th, 3 p.m. at City Council. Regional Food Council, there is an upcoming event on February 7th. I'll be sure to share that with everyone on the committee list. That is around advocacy, and it is supported by the Community Foundation. Just advocacy for local foods in our area, and the Community Foundation is presenting that. Also, I attended the Everything Local conference through the Illinois Farm Bureau last week. That was paid for by part of the partnership as well. And Healthy Eating Active Living is an offshoot of that, and that is what paid for me to go. Sustainability update. I didn't quite have the year-end usage information for electrical, gas, and water, but we'll have that for you for next month. And then the last thing, I want to call out the fact that we did participate in a program through Voltus this year. It was a demand response program, and so there were a few times we were called into action to sort of try to reduce our demand as best we could. We don't have generators, which is not great for me. But we, tried to pre-chill the buildings, that sort of thing, to reduce during peak times. And we did reduce. I didn't add the kilowatt hours there, and I'm sorry, I don't recall them. But we were paid a little over $3,000 for our demand response June through December of 2023. So excited to participate in that program again this coming year. And that's it, unless there are questions.
Great. Any questions? All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. Next, we have Kevin Nolan, who is here from the Center for Prevention of Abuse to talk about our long-term ombudsman program. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me back. So just a quick overview. This is our second year that we just finished with the current agreement that we have. And I'm very pleased to report on the outcomes that we saw this second year. We had 240 individuals that were educated about their rights in facilities, which represents a 7% increase from last year. So that's great. We had 143 cases that were closed, and this would be in instances where residents' rights were being violated in those facilities, where we advocated on behalf of those residents and got resolution to have a successful result for that resident. So that represents actually a 44% increase than what we did last year. We attended over 130 resident council meetings. Those meetings are important because that's when you get the people together in the facilities, and then you can actually kind of hear from them about what's going on, what needs to be changed. So it's great to attend those meetings to kind of build that rapport. That represents a 25% increase from last year. There were 137 instances where we provided information and assistance to facility staff, which in essence just means educating that facility staff on the rights of residents and the rules and regulations that those facilities are obligated to, and that represents a 33% increase from last year. We had 87 instances where referrals were provided to residents in those facilities, and those would be outside referrals, so things like Prairie State Legal Services, or Department of Veterans Affairs, or the Center for Prevention of Abuse for something, and that represents a huge increase of 89% from last year. All in all, we did visits in Peoria County facilities at 479 instances where we're in facilities visiting and making sure that residents were being well taken care of and that their rights are being adhered to. So that represents a 39% increase than last year. So some of the trends that we've been seeing in the facilities over the last quarter, I think John had mentioned the last one, we've seen a big issue with involuntary discharge, which in essence is eviction. I mean, if you think of it that way, where they're just sending people to hospitals or homeless shelters and then not taking them back. I'm happy to report that as of this quarter, we haven't seen any of that, and there's been a lot of improvement in that. So another issue that I think John spoke to last time is instances of bed bugs and roaches in Peoria County facilities. And this quarter, we haven't seen any of that. So that advocacy work has been helping and it's been rectified in those facilities. Some of the successes that we've seen in this last quarter too, we worked with a resident for 6 months. The resident wanted to go home. And that's the right to go home as long as they're able to provide care for themselves or able to facilitate that care is provided. That facility did not want the resident to go home, so we advocated on behalf of that resident, and I'm happy to report that resident was able to return to their home. We had another case like that where the facility didn't want the resident to go home. We worked with the facility and the physician, and we were able to establish home health care, and we were able to get that resident home as well. So that's good stuff. We had another instance where a resident had complained about them opening their mail every day. So they were reading through all their mail before they were providing it to the resident, which, as you can see, that's not something that anybody should be doing. So, of course, we advocate for that resident and they stopped that practice. Lastly, we've had some really cold weather, and we've had quite a few complaints about the cold weather, the cold temperatures that facilities were being kept at, 4 facilities in particular. So we, of course, advocated on behalf of all the residents in those facilities to make sure that temperature was increased. Questions?
Fantastic. Any questions? No. Well, thank you very much for all the advocacy that you do for our senior residents.
It's a
Appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Thank you.
See you back in 3 months. Okay. Next, we have a presentation on the Social Determinants of Health Accelerator Plan. Welcome, gentlemen.
All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you all so much for having me. My name is Andre Allen. For those in the public who may not know me, and I serve as your Chief Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Officer. And to the left of me is my esteemed colleague, Christian McKinley, who works with the City County Health Department as its Community Health Partners Manager. Excuse me. And for the sake of this project, though, he served as the Health and All Policies Coordinator. Christian put in a lot of work for this plan, and I'm very excited to present the essence of it. Before we present our presentation today, in your packet, you all received an executive summary. Everyone should have a hard copy of that, along with a hard copy of the plan that we're going to talk about today, which is entitled Our Social Determinants of Health Accelerator Plan. Just an overview of today's presentation. We're going to provide some introduction and background to how we got here, an overview of what is the concept of social determinants of health. We'll go into the two aspects of social determinants of health that we're specifically focusing on within this plan, which is social connectiveness and built environment. We're going to talk about the themes and the strategies that we were able to obtain from our outreach with various stakeholders. We're going to provide an overview of the multi-sexual partners that are going to help us execute this plan moving forward, and then next steps and how you all can support this important work. So beginning with the background, and this just provides some information about Peoria County as a whole, I really want to touch on bullets points 2 and 3, which really highlight the need for this important work, specifically within the 61605 zip code of Peoria County. And it talks about the different health disparities that exist within our 61605 zip code, including issues of older rental properties, the presence of lead paint, that leads to childhood lead poisoning, high air pollution, and other aspects that of their environment that are impacting their overall health outcomes. In 2022, the county health rankings ranked Peoria County a very low 81 out of 102 counties for least healthy outcomes. And that is something that we know that is an issue and we cannot stand and we must do something about. Addition to that, there was data collected for our local community health needs assessment plan, and it showed a gap in addressing the social determinants of health, particularly within the concepts of built environment and social connectedness that we'll talk about here shortly. So we know we have some opportunities for improvement. So what is our response? Our colleagues at the City County Health Department were able to secure a $125,000 grant from the Centers for Disease Control, also known as the CDC, to develop a social determinants of health accelerator plan. When I arrived at Peoria County in the fall of 2022, this was one of my first items of assignment per Administrator Sorrell and also from Dr. McKnight of the City County Health Department. My job per the grant was to establish our SDOH leadership team. SDOH is the acronym for Social Determinants of Health. And so for those in the public, I'll be using that throughout today's presentation. And so if you open up the plan here for our esteemed members of the Health Committee, you'll see members of our Social Determinants of Health team. We have a wide range of stakeholders, including myself, Administrator Sorrell, our Public Health Administrator, Monica Henderson, Dr. Leslie Knight, Christian McKinley, Leah Allison from the City of Peoria, Dr. Armour, who I believe is on the Board of Health for the City County Health Department, Ray Lees, and Nicole Robinson. So we have a very great group of dedicated individuals that make up our Social Determinants of Health leadership team. So what is social determinants of health? Again, this is a concept that is not new, but essentially these are issues within our society that impact a person's overall health outcomes. That can be economic stability, social connectedness, built environment, education, and so forth. And so these are things that we want to make sure that we address. A lot of these issues, unfortunately, are inherited based off of where someone is born. And so we want to make sure that we're very proactive in addressing these. Again, for the sake of the plan, we focused on two aspects of social determinants of health, and those are the social connectiveness and built environment. So if we peel back the onion of social connectiveness, this means establishing a true sense of belonging and connections within the community or the social circle that you reside in. We know how it's very important to have those relationships, even more now than ever. I think going through the pandemic, we realized you never know what you got until it's gone. Before you had that friend that if you invited to dinner, they'd be upset, but you know they want the invitation. Well, now that friend wants to come to dinner because they missed you and they want those meaningful relationships. And so it's us realizing that in order to have the best health that we can, that we have to have meaningful relationships, and it's being intentional about fostering social connectiveness through activities and social outings. Listed as benefits of social connectiveness include improved mental health, enhanced physical health, personal growth and development, increased empathy and compassion, and increased happiness and overall life satisfaction. Our second aspect of the social determinant of health is the built environment. And to break this down for our listening audience, these are things that have been created for humans that we can see, touch, and feel, including buildings, roads, parks, transportation systems, where people live, work, and spend majority of their time. This has a huge impact on your physical health, your mental health, and overall quality of life. The built environment impacts how we are able to execute our daily activities in order to improve our overall quality of life. It also can include green spaces and natural elements that can be beneficial to our overall mental health and well-being. Benefits of the built environment include improved physical health, enhanced mental well-being, increase in social interaction, access to amenities and services, economic benefits, and improved quality of life. So, to provide an example, if you're someone that lives in a neighborhood that has adequate sidewalks that allows you to safely walk from there to your child's school, you're organically getting exercise because you can safely get from your house to your child's school without having to worry about walking in the street, but possibly being in a pedestrian related accident with a car. And so when we start talking through some of the benefits of built environment, it is really at that granular level. We want to make sure that people have the built environment around them, that they're able to execute their basic duties each and every day. So our approach, we've been going through this process now a little over a year to deliver our deliverable, if you will, which is the plan to the CDC. And we've been reviewing and considering existing plans and strategies that have been done with the Peoria community that have an impact on the south side of Peoria. So we're not trying to reinvent the wheel, and Christian's going to talk a little bit about that shortly. In order to make sure that we had a plan that was truly reflective of the community that we're looking to serve, we conducted 3 outreach events to gather intentional information to address the needs of the 61605 communities. Those include disseminating a survey that was available both via our website, social media, and also we sent out a targeted mailer. It was, again, accessible through our website and then a traditional mailer, as I just repeated, so apologize about that. So now Christian's going to go into a presentation of the themes and the strategies that we were able to retrieve from our targeted outreach.
Just a correction, my last name is Christian McKinney, and that translates to sun god in the Gaelic religion. I just had to honor my roots. So our presentation of themes and strategies all had a common theme from the community. And you'll see that traditional mailer was passed out and designed by me as well. But I don't want to take the credit. We had a great team. The consistent theme was, I can't get to where I need to go. The roads are terrible because I keep breaking my car. People are dumping things behind my alley and I'm getting in trouble for it. Things like, nobody cares about us. That's sad. As a person who is not a resident of Peoria lifelong, I just moved here 3 years ago. I was heartbroken to hear those things. So I was invigorated to make sure the community was the priority in creating this plan because it's for them, not for us. And we're coming into their house. So we shouldn't tell them how to cook their food. Um, so I'm happy to say that through all of that, we were able to really make sense of how to accelerate this, right? Because we're just getting the ball rolling. There's so much work that needs to be done. And I'm going to make sure personally that y'all don't forget about this community. Mark my words on that. So, just to explain what it means to accelerate, acceleration guarantees movement. These strategies will help create a sustainable path for that forward movement, regardless of detours or naysayers that don't believe in it, because the work's already started. And that's some good news. Is this one right here? Okay. So our first strategy is to improve access to everyday destinations. I had to save some time. Save some space on the slide, but we want to improve and increase the infrastructure for various modes of transportation. I told you all that the complaints where I'm driving my car that I barely can afford, and now I hit this pothole and I can't get my tire fixed. So now I can't get to work, and now I can't provide for my family. Now I have to starve, and oh wait, I just got COVID too, and I'm probably gonna die now because I didn't have the resources, and that's a sad reality. So we want better sidewalks, better bike paths, better bus routes because people can't afford vehicles and they deserve to go to the grocery store that is not in their neighborhood, and dedicating shuttles and stops for those reasons specifically, because it's not about over helping. It's about getting them up to speed and accelerating them. Clearly, they're so far behind. We need to get them where they need to be. We also want safer routes. I noticed in some past plans that there was some concerns for safety, especially around the hill on MacArthur, that bike path that is really sorry. I have used it as a turning lane because I didn't know it was a bike path until I saw, oh, there's the bikes right there. And I know that could cause a lot of deterrence if you're supposed to want to use bikes. I don't feel safe riding my bike over there because people are already driving reckless because they don't care about the neighborhood. So that's just something that should be considered. Also, safety is an issue. I am not just a part of social determinants of health. Cure Violence is also an initiative that I lead, similarly to this at the health department. And lighting is such a major thing. It's dark. And if what's done in the dark can't come to light, it's going to keep being done. So we need to make sure they have lights. And that's a good starting point. Also, Councilwoman Denise Jackson really wanted to advocate for the IDOT promise, the promise that we've been promised that they didn't hold through. We want to hold them accountable to redo the Lincoln and Howard corridor improvement. Western Avenue has been seeing some work, but we want the completion, not just a band-aid or just the beginning. These people live here. So let's make sure we have good stewardship as the city and county that we want them to live in and be happy about. And also the MacArthur Corridor Capital Improvement Plan as well. Our next plan, sorry, I'm not used to having all this technology at once. I'm extemporaneous, if you can't tell. So we would like to build positive relationships, and improving access to destinations does help that. If you can walk and see your neighbor, you're more likely to say hi than if you're going to drive to work with your window up. That's just common sense. So if we give that space, relationships will actually heal themselves on their own. But here's some tips and tricks that we want to invigorate the community with. So we would like to strengthen the partnerships with the current neighborhood associations to invigorate more a motivation to take ownership of this neighborhood instead of waiting on other people to do it, because obviously they've been doing that for a while. And sometimes, even if you have no boots, just grab your Achilles tendon and do your best. So we want to strengthen those partnerships that are already there, explore opportunities to establish scheduled fun, scheduled activities, and scheduled programs for senior citizens because they deserve to have a good time too. And they're losing their friends every day. So it doesn't matter if they're going outside to walk, their friend's gone. So we have to make a better community for them to be able to just do it like they've always done it their whole life. It gets really hard when you get older to try to redo what you knew how to do when you were younger. We also want to conduct both cultural and literacy partnership activities and sponsor some of those things, and create a constant influx of sponsorships within the community so they can build on themselves, and also help people who are not from the community understand what's going on, because that's the disconnect. We're screaming for help, but we're saying it in a language you don't understand. So you just think we're babbling and angry. So we want to help cultural and literacy for everybody, including ourselves, because we got a lot to learn as well. And we'll just let you read the rest of that so we can save some time. We also want to increase safe and affordable housing. This is really exciting for me because this is already happening. So the housing programs include the roof replacement lotteries that both the city of Peoria and the Peoria County just got done figuring out. And unfortunately, we didn't get enough applicants, so we just moved the money around to get more help, and it worked out because there was a wait list. And I'm just happy that I don't have to wait till next year to see this plan come into fruition. So hallelujah to that. We also want to add down payment assistance, rental assistance, and debt reduction. Also, if you have the down payment, we want to make sure you know how to take care of a house, because if you give someone $1 million, they're going to spend it on all the things they want and not what they need. So we want to get them the proper knowledge, because it doesn't help for you to give me a house and then say, well, you don't know how to take care of a house. Teach me. Okay. We also want to expand tool sharing programs to encourage property maintenance, because you have to be a good homemaker. That's biblical. You have to be a good homemaker if you're going to establish land ownership, because this is everybody's earth. So we have to teach them how to be good stewards if they've never got that. And that includes not wasting nails or not buying too many tools and having a lot of waste. We can save the world with the whole reduce, reuse, recycle as well. We also want to incentivize landlords, which I know it sounds like, why are we giving them more money to be worse than they already are? But this is to encourage better behavior. So maybe we waive some registration fees. Maybe we incentivize them by giving them programs to do the maintenance that these people need, because one, the landlords, if you look at it, they don't live here often, and it's an easier problem to just help them understand what they need, because they don't answer the phone. They're busy, right? Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. They got a lot of properties around the United States because they're trying to get their groove on financially, but they sometimes just neglect where they started, right? So let's help them not neglect. Let's make it to where they cannot forget. And we also want to increase physical activity. So this is just, again, making programs to where they don't have to make it up. They don't have to create the motivation. It's just there. You just show up. We'll teach you how to exercise. We'll teach you how to have fun while doing it. We want to actually make it safe for you to do it. We don't want you to go to the park and worry about getting tetanus or something from a plastic bottle that somebody didn't throw away because you wanted to be nice and clean it up. We want to make sure it's just always clean. So all of these are in the plan. And so we're going to move to the social determinants of health, the multi-sectoral partnerships. This is the cool piece, because this is where all of us come in, right? Everything is connected, and everything is public health, right? We have all of our silos working independently, and it is my dream, and I'm pretty sure everyone else in here, to work cohesively as a community so our community can do better, and not just our zip codes doing better, because we're a city of Peoria, not zip codes of Peoria. We can go ahead and go to the next slide.
So before we move on, we just have a quick 2-minute video that we're going to show. This is going to be a video that we're going to utilize as part of our media campaign to roll out the Social Determinants of Health Accelerator Plan. Again, I want to give kudos to Christian on that. He did a great job directing. We actually have members of the community that participated in the various stakeholder events that we hosted, specifically at the Carver Center, that are also a part of this. So we're going to go ahead and hit play, and then we can get ready to conclude our presentation.
The south side of Peoria is the heart of the city. And just like the heart is vital to the body, the health of the south side will determine the overall success of the city of Peoria. The CDC has entrusted the Peoria City County Health Department to create an accelerator plan to bring the south side of Peoria up to speed when it comes to opportunities that improve the built environment and social connectedness. These social determinants of health are needed to sustain a healthy, thriving community.
In our community, each person is valued within the plan to increase physical activity and increase positive relationships. When we consider increased physical activity strategies, these strategies include activity clubs, walking groups, well-lit pathways, and regular health checks. When we consider increased positive relationship strategies, these strategies include revitalization of current neighborhood associations, activity calendars for senior citizens, cultural and literacy collaborations, and quarterly park activities.
When it comes to our themes of improving access to destinations and housing, it is important for organizations and local municipalities to be on board with development and revitalization within these themes for the 61605 community. These themes include the IDOT Capital Improvement Plan for Howard and Lincoln Corridor, the MacArthur Highway Capital Improvement Plan, affordable housing, homeownership programs, and much more.
I support the Accelerator Plan for 61605 for several reasons. I appreciate the action steps being taken to get the community involved, such as open communication and transparency with the intentions behind this plan.
As a resident of 61605, I trust the leadership of the program. Not only do I trust the vision of the plan, I believe it will be good for 61605.
I see all of that happening with the SDOH Accelerator Plan to date, and I am excited to continue to be a supportive factor in the positive growth and development of 61605.
It is our responsibility as the leadership team, community, and external stakeholders to advocate for this plan and get it on the desk of city and county officials. It is up to you to help us hashtag Accelerate 61605 by doing your part in engaging, participating, and owning this plan.
Thank you, and I want to give a quick shout out to our friends at Central States Media for helping us put that video together. And again, also thank you to Christian for his narration and media skills to help us put together a good video. As you all have in your hand here, you all have a draft of that plan, but we want to make sure that the information that is presented is digestible for whoever comes across of it. So in our next steps and closing remarks, see, you all are thinking about how can you all help move this work forward. I look at it as a three-pronged approach. The first prong is advocacy. You all have this plan. Read it, digest it, ask questions, because we'll need your support as policymakers in our county to help move this work forward. When we come back, we may have programming ideas, or you may have programming ideas that fit some of the themes and strategies that Christian talked about earlier. And then the last one is implementation. We want to make sure that this is not a plan that just goes on the shelf and collects dust. We want to make sure it's a plan that we can come up with some great ideas to move this work forward and ultimately implement. And so that concludes our presentation today. I really appreciate you all taking time and supporting us in this work. And at this time, if there's any questions, comments, concerns, we'll field those at this time.
Member Williams.
So I have several comments and questions. I live in 61605. I live on the county side of Laramie, which is Limestone Township. Some of the things you have mentioned here today, I hate to put him on the spot, but I'm going to. Derek Romer, who's the Limestone Township supervisor, is doing a lot of the stuff you're saying. I think that a meeting with him would be in order because we have a lot of challenges. We meet quarterly with the Planning and Zoning Department to talk about issues with landlords, with properties. We face a lot of challenges, and that's the county side of Laramie, unincorporated Peoria County. So I want them not to be forgotten in this plan. One of the things that I don't believe we're able to do is a landlord registration, but I think that is something that we need to work on, because those are some of the big challenges that we face on the county side. of Laramie. But Derek is doing a lot of good things. He's doing activities with seniors. He's got a monthly program where he has speakers come in. He's trying to address some of the issues with home ownership and landlords. So he's really doing good things for Limestone Township. So I want you to keep him in mind as you move along in this. Obviously, since I live in that area, I've got a vested interest in it, so I'm available anytime to answer questions or help you navigate whatever you need within Limestone Township, because I have a very good working relationship with Derek. So thank you for the work you're doing.
Thank you, Member Williams.
Yes, thank you for that. Member Ricker?
Yeah, thank you for the presentation and the work. I look forward to moving this forward and implement the improvements, building out the community. I did have one question on page 9 of the book. You referenced the Southside Community United for Change, and you've got a line connected from the city of Peoria's emblem to that. I don't know that organization. Maybe you could speak to that and maybe the relationship the city has, if they're initiated that, or kind of just tie that together, please.
Yeah, absolutely, Member Ricker. So Southside United for Change is a coalition of neighborhood and homeowners associations on the south side of Peoria. And so they're a registered organization with the city of Peoria, but it's a conglomerate of different HOAs and neighborhood associations. Some of their members include Robert Johnson, president of the Peoria Park District, First District Council member Denise Jackson, and current school board member Martha Ross, just to provide some context.
Any other questions? Yes, Member Duncan.
Any comments, feedback, direct them directly to you, Andre, or to Chris?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Were you asking for yourself? Do you have his contact information?
I'm asking for myself as well as others who are aware of what's going on with this, on the 61605.
Okay. What's the best way of contacting you?
Yeah, so we have a landing page on Peoria County website, so that'd be a good space. And then also, too, you can email me at aallen@peoriacounty.gov. And Christian, you want to throw out your email?
So similar pattern as everybody in here. C. McKinney. The name you could look in here to, if you don't know how to spell my last name, at peoriacounty.gov as well, not .org.
How about a phone number for those who may not be tech savvy?
309-868-6867. That's a direct line to me.
Thank you.
Also, I'll give my direct line because this plan is not about my work at the health department. This is my heart. 309-215-6194. I will not answer your phone, but I will respond to your text.
All right, thank you. Any other comments or questions? All right, thank you, gentlemen, for all the information. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, we actually have an agenda item, and that is the name of the health campus building. So could I get a motion to put that on the floor, please? Member Daly, and a second by Member Williams. Do you want to talk about it, or do we need to?
Monica, were you going to cover this one? Did I lose her? Jump off? Okay. That's fine. That's fine. I can cover it if you'd like me to.
Sure.
Okay. In the agenda briefing, in your packet is an agenda briefing that Scott prepared. And in that, it talks about the naming of the health department building. So we do have a couple of our facilities that have actually had a formal name tied to them. For example, we had Headington Oaks. We named the nursing home facility Headington Oaks instead of something related to Peoria County. And again, it goes on to kind of talk about some of the reasoning behind that in the past. We do have the public safety campus is named the George P. Shadid after former Sheriff Shadid. The recommendation today before you is to name the new Health and Human Services building the Health and Human Services campus. Not necessarily give a specific person's name to that, but to really just keep it at the more general, and then again, above the entrance to the coroner's office, it would say Peoria County Coroner's Office, and so on and so forth. So to keep it more of the Health and Human Services campus in general would continue to give us some flexibility with that space as we need to moving forward. I can try to answer any questions anybody might have.
I just wanted to be clear that the name would be the Peoria County Health and Human Services Building. It would be named the Health and Human Services on the building, would be the signage. The health department's legal name is the City County Health Department at this time until they go through the steps, if necessary, to change that. But the building itself would be the Peoria County Health and Human Services Building. So, yes, Member Daly.
I just have one objection to this briefing. As always, I loathe acronyms, and so I don't think that when you use acronyms, you actually communicate with people. So I would hope that it never becomes HHS, which is suggested here. Thanks.
I'm sure that will never appear on the building itself. I can't promise no one's going to call it the HHS.
Just not in my presence.
Okay. Can we call it the Linda Daly HHS? Okay. Any other comments?
Rob, or I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, Monica is on the call.
Oh.
Monica, did you have anything you'd like to add? We cannot hear you.
No,
Okay.
no. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. No, I think, again, I appreciated the communication regarding having a concise name that explains the purpose of the building, and so definitely appreciate that.
Thank you. Any others? Yes, Member Hare.
Where's the recommendation for the the Health and Human Services building coming from? It just, I mean, man, we moved heaven and earth for this building, and it just seems like kind of a letdown to me to name it the Health and Human Services Building. I mean, I don't have a name in mind for a person to honor, but
It's generally accepted nomenclature, especially like within NACO, as far as the types of services that are provided there fall under Health and Human Services.
I'm not objecting to
So
that. I like that.
That's where it originated from.
But like, you know, the Rob Renault Health and Human Service Bill. No, I don't want after me. I'm just saying, is there, I hope that in the future, if we need to honor somebody who is directly tied to Health and Human Services, that we would reconsider naming the building after them. It just seems, well, a little bit anticlimactic.
Sure. Understand. Well, then, Mr.
You might want to think about naming after someone is already deceased, though.
Yes, Mr. Ricker.
Not to make Linda upset, I'm going to call it the Regional Office of Education, not the RO, whatever. But I guess they reside in that building. I'm a big education fan. I've always been, I always will be. So I think we're missing the opportunity to highlight this education piece, and that's a cornerstone of our community. So I don't want it just to be, well, it's part of a human service, because we educate people. So I think there's something missing from the education piece, and I don't know if Beth had to weigh in on this or not.
Any other comments? Do you have any recommendations? No?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Brian.
I might be bringing some thoughts to the main board meeting, but I don't have anything in particular right now. So, but there's been a lot of good comments as far as the impact of the one that is proposed right now compared to maybe something else that would, recognize someone. I mean, I'm not advocating recognizing Dr. Fauci or anybody like that, but I may have some thoughts at the next meeting.
Okay. I think to Monica's point, keeping it concise is important. Adding every department that's in the building on the side of the building isn't realistic, nor is necessarily naming it after somebody. I'm not sure we'd ever come up with a consensus on the appropriate person who we may be able to name, who in the future we may have to take the name off. I mean, I think it's just easier to not name it after a certain individual, keep it concise. We can name the departments within it for sure, but as far as the building goes, the simpler the better. So with that, I'll go ahead and call the vote. If you choose to object at this point, we can take it on at the board level. So all those in favor, please state aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Oh, sorry, Brian. Opposed?
Aye.
One nay. Two.
Brian.
Was Brian a nay? I thought he was saying aye twice. Is member Phelan still on?
Yes, I'm in favor. Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. Next, I need a motion for the recommendation of executive minutes. Put it on the floor, please. Member Williams, the second. Member Coates. Okay.
Thank you. It's the recommendation of the state's attorney's office that all previously held minutes continue to be held because the need for confidentiality still exists for those, but to destroy the executive session audio recordings that are more than 2 years old, except for those that relate to pending litigation.
All right, any questions? All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Public comment? Miscellaneous? We're adjourned. Thank you.